All right, get ready to move, because today we're diving deep into a topic that affects every single one of us: how to stay active and strong throughout our entire lives.
That's right. We're going to be taking everything we learned from episode 31, movement for every stage of life.
And figuring out how to adjust our workouts as we age.
Because let's face it, what worked in our 20s might not cut it when we hit our 40s, 50s, or even our 80s.
Have you ever felt like your workouts just weren't doing it for you anymore? Like you were stuck in a rut and needed to change?
We're going to break down exercise strategies for each stage of life. So no matter what your age,
You can feel amazing every time you move.
it all starts with understanding how our bodies change over time.
So true.
What worked for us a few years ago might need some serious adjustments as we get older.
Makes sense. So where do we even begin?
Well, let's start with those high energy years, the 20s and 30s.
Yes, those invincible years.
Right. This is the foundation building phase.
The time to establish healthy habits that will pay off big time down the road.
Think of it as investing in your future self.
I like that, investing in your future self. Okay, so if I'm in my 20s or 30s, what should I be focusing on when it comes to exercise?
It's all about balance. You want to incorporate strength training like deadlifts and squats to build muscle mass.
I love those squats.
But you also need to prioritize flexibility exercises like yoga or Pilates to maintain range of motion and prevent those injuries.
Speaking of injuries, I know a lot of younger folks who think stretching is a waste of time.
It's a huge misconception. Flexibility is essential for preventing injuries and maintaining mobility as we age.
I guess you're right. It's easy to think we're invincible in our 20s.
Trust me, those tight muscles will catch up to you eventually. So make stretching a non-negotiable part of your routine.
Got it. So we've got strength training and flexibility covered. What else is important during these foundation building years?
Recovery. Building healthy habits like getting enough sleep, managing stress, and prioritizing those rest days is just as important as the workouts themselves.
It's not just about going hard all the time, right?
Exactly. You can't pour from an empty cup. You need to give your body time to repair and rebuild so you can come back stronger.
Recharge those batteries. So strength training, flexibility, and recovery are the key ingredients for building a solid foundation in our 20s and 30s.
Absolutely. What you do now will impact your health and well-being for decades to come.
It's all about setting ourselves up for success later on in life.
Now let's fast forward a bit to our 40s and 50s. Maybe those weekend warrior days are catching up with us, or maybe those desk jobs have us feeling a little stiff.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
But it's definitely not time to slow down. It's time to adapt.
Adapt. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Our focus shifts to maintaining that muscle mass we work so hard to build.
Right, because nobody wants to lose those gains.
We also want to protect our joints and start combating those sneaky lifestyle factors like sitting for hours on end.
Okay, so how do we combat those aches and pains and keep up with our kids or grandkids who seem to have boundless energy?
It starts with choosing joint-friendly exercises. We want to incorporate options like resistance bands, kettlebell swings, and bodyweight exercises. Think functional movements that mimic what you do in everyday life.
So we're training for grocery runs and playground adventures, not just lifting heavy weights.
Exactly. And speaking of time, this is where those shorter, more intense workouts come in handy.
You mean like HIIT, high-intensity interval training?
Exactly. HIIT is a fantastic way to boost your metabolism and improve your cardiovascular health in a short amount of time.
I've heard that HIIT can be hard on the joints, though. Is it safe for people in their 40s and 50s?
It can be, but the key is to modify the exercises and listen to your body. Instead of those high-impact jumps, we can opt for lower-impact variations like speed skaters or mountain climbers. The goal is to challenge yourself without putting too much stress on your joints.
Got it. Modify those moves.
Yeah.
But what about those of us who are stuck at a desk all day, every day? Any tips for combating the effects of a sedentary lifestyle?
Simple changes can make a world of difference. Try incorporating hourly movement breaks, like getting up and walking around, or doing some stretches at your desk. You can also try using a standing desk, or even taking walking meetings.
So we're not just talking about structured workouts. We're talking about being more mindful of our movement throughout the day.
Absolutely. It's about making movement a part of your life, not just something you check off your to-do list.
Love that. Make it a part of your life.
Right.
Okay, so we've covered strength training, flexibility recovery, joint-friendly exercises, HIIT, and combating a sedentary lifestyle. That's a lot to take in.
It is, but the main takeaway for our 40s and 50s is to adapt our routines to our changing bodies and prioritize both strength and mobility.
It's all about finding that balance, right?
Exactly.
Welcome back to our deep dive on adapting exercise for every stage of life. In part 1, we explored how to adjust our workouts as our bodies change over time.
We talked about the importance of strength training,
Flexibility and making those smart choices that set us up for success as we age.
but knowing what to do is only half the battle, right?
So true. It's like having all the ingredients for an amazing meal, but not knowing how to put them together.
Exactly. So let's talk strategy. How do we take all this knowledge and actually turn it into a sustainable plan? A plan that becomes a part of our lives, not just another thing on our to-do list.
A plan we can actually stick with. Because let's be real, life gets busy, motivation can dip, and sometimes that snooze button just calls our name a little too loudly.
I hear you. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is trying to do too much too soon. They overhaul their entire routine overnight, and then what happens?
They burn out, they get overwhelmed and give up.
Exactly. It's like trying to climb Mount Everest in one giant leap. Instead, focus on taking those small, consistent steps that will eventually lead you to the summit.
Okay, I'm liking this mountain climbing analogy. Small steps, consistency, I can get behind that. But where do we even begin? If we're feeling overwhelmed, what's that first step towards creating a sustainable exercise routine?
Start by identifying 1 or 2 areas that really resonate with you. Maybe you want to improve your flexibility or incorporate more strength training into your routine.
Okay, so pick 1 or 2 things and just focus on those. Don't try to change everything at once.
Exactly. Maybe you start by adding a few stretches to your morning routine, or maybe you commit to doing a quick 10-minute strength training circuit twice a week. The key is to choose something achievable, something that fits into your lifestyle and doesn't feel overwhelming.
Something that feels doable and doesn't make us want to run and hide.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to change everything overnight, we're just making those small, manageable changes.
Exactly. And remember, consistency is key. It's those small, consistent actions that lead to big results over time. But we all know that life happens, motivation can dip, those cravings for the couch can kick in, and sometimes that workout just feels like the last thing we want to do.
Oh, tell me about it. Some days, that snooze button is just way too tempting. Any advice for those times when our willpower just isn't cutting it?
It happens to all of us. When that happens, take a moment to reconnect with your why. Remind yourself why you started this fitness journey in the first place.
Why we're putting in the effort.
Exactly. What are you hoping to achieve? Is it to have more energy, feel more confident in your body, or improve your overall health?
Sometimes we just need that little reminder to get us back on track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's another important tip. Find an activity you genuinely enjoy. If you hate running, don't force yourself to run. There are so many ways to move your body.
So many options.
Maybe you love to dance, swim, hike, or play a sport. The key is to find something that makes you feel good, something that gets you excited to move. Exercise shouldn't feel like a punishment.
It should be a celebration of what our bodies can do. Ditch the shoulds and embrace the wants when it comes to exercise.
I love that. And speaking of keeping things exciting, don't be afraid to mix things up. Variety is key to preventing boredom and keeping those plateaus at bay.
Ooh, I like where this is going. Tell me more about how to break out of those workout ruts and keep things fresh.
Experiment with different types of workouts like HIIT, yoga, Pilates, or strength training classes. Maybe you try a new sport or activity like rock climbing or paddleboarding. Or you could simply change your walking route or explore a new hiking trail.
I'm all about trying new things. It keeps things interesting and challenges our bodies in new ways. But let's be honest, even when we're doing all the right things, those plateaus can still sneak up on us.
They can be frustrating, right?
So frustrating. It's like we hit a wall and our progress just comes to a screeching halt. What do we do when we feel like we're stuck in a rut and our efforts just aren't paying off?
Remember, plateaus are a normal part of the fitness journey. Our bodies are amazing at adapting, and sometimes they just need a little nudge to keep moving forward.
Okay, so a plateau isn't a sign of failure. It's just a sign that we need to switch things up a bit.
Exactly. It's an opportunity to reassess and adjust your approach. It might be time to increase the intensity or duration of your workouts, try a new training method, or experiment with different equipment.
So it's like we're detectives, searching for clues to unlock our next level of fitness.
I love that analogy. Sometimes those small tweaks can make a big difference in breaking through plateaus and reigniting your progress. But let's be real, life throws us curveballs sometimes. Injuries, busy schedules, burnout, these things can happen. And they can definitely derail our fitness plans.
It can be so discouraging when we're finally feeling good about our routine, and then bam, life throws a wrench in the works. How do we navigate those challenging times without completely throwing in the towel?
First and foremost, be kind to yourself. Listen to your body and honor its limits. If you're injured, rest and allow yourself time to heal. Don't try to push through pain because that's a recipe for further injury.
Rest and recovery are just as important as the workouts themselves.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling overwhelmed or burnt out, it's okay to take a step back and reassess your priorities. Maybe you need to shorten your workouts or reduce the frequency. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
It's all about finding that sustainable pace that we can maintain for the long haul.
Right. Exactly. And when you're ready to get back into it, ease back in gradually. Start with shorter, less intense workouts and slowly increase the duration and intensity as you feel stronger. Remember, progress over perfection.
Small, consistent steps forward, rather than trying to do too much too soon and risking burnout or injury. Okay, this is all making so much sense, but let's be honest. Exercise isn't just about the physical stuff. Our mindset, our mental strength, those things play a huge role in our success as well. How do we cultivate the mental toughness and resilience we need to create lasting change?
You're absolutely right. The mental game is just as important as the physical one. Motivation, mindset, and resilience. These are crucial ingredients for success. One of the best ways to cultivate mental strength is to set realistic goals and celebrate your progress along the way.
So instead of focusing on that big, daunting end goal, we should break it down into small and more achievable steps and give ourselves credit for those wins, no matter how small they may seem.
Exactly. It's about shifting your focus from outcome to process. Instead of comparing yourself to others or striving for perfection, focus on your own unique journey and celebrate each step forward.
It's easy to get caught up in the comparison game, especially with social media constantly showcasing those seemingly perfect bodies and fitness journeys.
So true. Remember, everyone's journey is different. Focus on your own progress and celebrate those wins, no matter how small they may seem. And don't underestimate the power of rewards.
Ooh, I like rewards.
When you reach a milestone, no matter how big or small, reward yourself. Maybe it's a relaxing bath, a massage, a new workout outfit, or a delicious healthy meal. Find what motivates you and use it to your advantage.
It's like giving ourselves a little pat on the back for all our hard work. And it makes the journey more enjoyable too. But what about those times when exercise just feels like a chore? How do we make it something we look forward to instead of dread?
Find an activity that truly lights you up, something you genuinely enjoy and that makes you excited to move your body. If you're forcing yourself to do something you hate, you're not going to stick with it.
It's all about finding that joy in movement. So ditch the shoulds and embrace the wants when it comes to exercise. Explore different options, try new things, and don't be afraid to get a little playful.
Exactly. And here's another powerful strategy. Find a workout buddy or join a fitness community. Having a support system can make a world of difference. Sharing your journey with others, whether it's a friend, a family member, or an online community, can provide that extra boost of motivation, accountability, and a sense of belonging.
I'm a firm believer in the power of community. Having people to cheer us on, share our struggles with, and celebrate our victories with can make the journey so much more enjoyable and rewarding. But what about those times when we need a little more than just a cheerleader? What if we're struggling with an injury, a health condition, or we just feel lost and unsure of how to move forward safely and effectively?
Don't hesitate to reach out for professional guidance. A physical therapist, a personal trainer, a doctor, or a counselor can provide personalized support and help you create a plan that's safe, effective, and tailored to your unique needs and goals.
Seeking professional help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's an investment in our well-being. All right, we've covered a lot of ground in this segment. We talked about finding enjoyment, motivation, overcoming plateaus, building resilience, and seeking support when we need it.
But now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How do we actually take all this information and put it into practice? How do we make exercise a seamless part of our daily lives?
Okay, let's talk about those practical strategies that can make or break our success. What are those little things we can do that can make a big difference?
One of the most effective strategies is to schedule your workouts just like you would any other important appointment. Block out time in your calendar and treat it as non-negotiable.
Put it in the schedule and stick to it.
Exactly. Make it a priority. And if you're struggling with time constraints, remember that even short bursts of activity throughout the day can make a big difference. 10 minutes here and there can really add up.
10 minutes is better than nothing. So instead of thinking we need to carve out an hour for a workout, we can just look for those little pockets of time throughout the day.
Exactly. Take the stairs instead of the elevator, walk or bike to work, or do a few squats while you're waiting for your coffee to brew. Those little bursts of movement add up over time.
It's all about finding ways to sneak in movement throughout the day, even when we don't have time for a formal workout. Love that.
And here's another practical tip: create a dedicated workout space at home. Even if it's just a small corner, having a designated area can help you get in the right mindset and eliminate excuses.
It's like having our own little fitness sanctuary, a place where we can go to escape the chaos of daily life and focus on taking care of ourselves.
Exactly. And speaking of creating routines, consider the power of habit stacking. This is where you pair your workout with another activity you already do regularly.
So like listening to a podcast or watching a favorite show while we exercise.
Exactly. It's a great way to make those new habits stick because you're piggybacking on an existing routine.
Habit stacking, such a clever strategy. Okay, what about workout gear? What are those essentials that can make our workouts more enjoyable and effective?
Of course. Having the right gear can make a big difference in your comfort, motivation, and overall performance. Invest in comfortable workout clothes that allow you to move freely.
Gotta love those comfy workout clothes.
And make sure you have supportive shoes that are appropriate for the types of activities you enjoy. A water bottle to stay hydrated is essential, of course. And depending on your workouts, you might also want to invest in a yoga mat, resistance bands, or some light weights.
And let's not forget about all those amazing fitness trackers, apps, and online workouts that are available these days. Technology can be such a great tool for staying motivated, tracking progress, and discovering new routines.
Absolutely. But let's not get so caught up in the technology that we forget about the importance of proper nutrition and recovery.
Right, it's not just about what we do during our workouts, it's also about what we do before and after.
Exactly. Make sure you're fueling your body with nutrient-rich foods that provide the energy and building blocks it needs to perform at its best. Prioritize getting enough sleep, managing stress levels, and incorporating relaxation techniques into your routine.
It's all connected: what we eat, how we sleep, how we manage stress, and how we move our bodies. It's a holistic approach to well-being.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We've covered a lot of ground in this segment, from finding enjoyment and motivation to overcoming plateaus, incorporating practical tips for making exercise a part of our daily lives, and emphasizing the importance of nutrition and recovery. But the most important takeaway is this: creating a sustainable exercise routine is a journey, not a destination.
It's about experimenting, finding what works for you, and being kind to yourself along the way. It's about progress over perfection.
I love that. Progress over perfection. It's about showing up for yourself day after day, even when it's tough, and celebrating those wins, big and small.
All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into movement for every stage of life. We've talked about the how-to, the what to do, but now it's time for a little inspiration. We're going to hear from some incredible people who are out there proving that staying active and feeling great as we age is totally possible.
I love hearing these stories. It's like a dose of motivation, you know? Real people, real stories, real results.
Exactly. So are you ready to be inspired?
Absolutely. Let's hear what they have to say.
All right, first up we have Eleanor, an 85-year-old woman who didn't let a hip replacement stop her from living her best life.
That's right. She's an avid hiker and yoga enthusiast.
And she regularly tackles those challenging trails. It's amazing.
She credits her active lifestyle with her overall health and vitality, and she didn't even start exercising seriously until after her hip replacement.
Wow, that's incredible. It really is never too late to start.
Never. Eleanor's story is a perfect example of how we can overcome obstacles and find joy in movement no matter what age we are.
It's all about finding what works for us and adapting our approach as needed.
Exactly. And sometimes those unexpected challenges can lead us to discover new passions we never even knew we had.
It's like those detours in life that turn out to be the most amazing adventures. Okay, let's move on to John, a 60-year-old former marathon runner who had to make a major adjustment to his routine after experiencing some persistent knee pain.
John's story is a great reminder that sometimes we need to pivot.
Adapt.
Exactly. He didn't give up on endurance sports altogether.
Which I totally would have understood.
He transitioned to cycling, which is a lower impact activity, but still allowed him to challenge himself physically while protecting his joints.
It's about finding those creative solutions, right?
Yeah.
So we can keep doing the things we love.
Absolutely. And it's also about listening to our bodies and making those smart choices that support our long-term well-being.
Speaking of smart choices, let's talk about Maria, a 45-year-old super busy mom who figured out how to make fitness a non-negotiable part of her life.
Even with a demanding schedule.
Even with a demanding schedule. Maria rocks those short, high-intensity workouts whenever she can, proving that you don't need hours at the gym to get results.
Love it. Short, sweet, and effective.
Exactly. It's about finding those pockets of time and making them count.
It's about making fitness work for you, not the other way around.
So true. Okay, last but not least, we have David, a 70-year-old retired teacher who found a new sense of community and purpose through group fitness classes.
Oh, I love that. Community is so powerful.
He wasn't much of an exerciser before retirement, but those group classes really sparked something in him.
The social aspect can be so motivating.
It's like having a built-in support system. Plus, there's something for everyone, no matter what your fitness level is.
Exactly. It's about moving our bodies together, encouraging each other, and celebrating those victories together.
There's a real magic in that, isn't there?
Absolutely. It's about creating those connections, building those relationships, and realizing that we're not alone on this journey.
So we've heard from Eleanor, John, Maria, and David, 4 inspiring individuals from different walks of life, proving that staying active and feeling amazing as we age is within reach for all of us.
It's about adapting, finding what works for you, and not being afraid to try new things.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I hope you feel inspired and empowered to embrace movement in your own life, no matter where you're starting from.
Movement is a gift, a celebration of life, and a journey that's worth taking at every age and every stage.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into movement and aging.
It's been a pleasure.
And remember, keep moving, keep exploring, and keep celebrating what your amazing body can do.